Hello, Sarah.
Hello, Sue. How are you?
I'm good, aka Baby Yoda.
Oh, yes, and AKO a Yoda of Weddings.
That's correct. So, welcome everybody. This is most certainly not our first, well, it's together, it is, but it's not my first live. I've done hundreds of lives, but this is our. Oh, hello, Melissa. Look, Mel's there from Mila Crafty. So nice to hear from you, Mel. This is actually our first live across 3 platforms. So, Sarah, we're on Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube.
Yes.
So it's very exciting. Now, before the sea hit, we won't mention that word, Sarah.
No.
We were doing a lot of filming in the studio, filming segments, and what we decided was it would just be a lot more raw and organic if we just went live and allowed people to ask questions. So if they're at work and they can't join us, they can always listen later. Oh, we've got some run around Sue. I got called that many times when I was younger. Run around Sue, like in a good way, not in that way. And Muffa Tazzetti. Sarah's going to keep me up with all the people saying hellos and people asking questions. We want you to ask questions, but Sarah, I do believe you have a couple of questions we're going to start with.
I do have a couple of questions here. People were kind enough to send things through overnight, so thank you so much.
Awesome, thank you.
But first of all, I would like to ask a question, if I might.
You might.
Okay, so the most common question we actually get asked is, why do they call you Yoda of Weddings?
That was a segue, wasn't it?
I know. So I thought that's probably the quickest and the easiest way to answer that for everybody.
I get asked that all the time. So this is me here. This is Yoda because I'm the old one. And then this is Baby Yoda here because she's the young one. Oh, look, so in a quick nutshell, how many years ago, Sarah, would it have been? Oh, Jacob was a little tiny baby. 10, 11 years ago when I was longer?
He's 21 now.
Oh, my Lord, he was a little baby when I first met you. Well, not a baby, but anyway. So when I was a wedding photographer running around everywhere shooting weddings, I was so busy. I couldn't cope. I needed someone to help me. I also needed someone to do photo editing for me and enter Sarah. So as we started working together, Sarah would just shake her head and go, how do you know so much about weddings? You're like Yoda. So she started calling me Yoda over a decade ago. And it sort of went to Yoda of Weddings because Yoda's already taken. I can't be Yoda. And then she became so good at what she did that I started calling her Baby Yoda. And I think what's a classic is, now look, Baby Yoda is actually a real thing, but really we invented Baby Yoda. We should have put a copyright on that years ago.
I think so.
And yes, I do love Star Wars, but really, guys, that's it. That's my answer.
Awesome. Excellent. Okay, so I'm going to jump into some questions. So first, yes, no, please. You're going to say something?
I was going to say, do we want to do a little bit of an intro on stuff, but I don't know what you're going to ask me, so ask me first.
Okay, well, Amanda sent through a question and she has asked, how long before my wedding should I send out my invitations?
Oh, hi, Amanda. Thank you for putting your question in. Look, this is a really tricky question, so I'm just going to give you a couple of answers here. If you are really concrete in who your list is and you don't have a plan B list, which a plan B list is simply if anyone from plan A can't make it, you want to fill seats. But I know couples that just say, if anyone from plan A can't make it, yay, I'll save money and have less people. So if you really are rigid on your plan A list, I would honestly send it 2 years ahead. Because, Sarah, if I said to you now, what are you doing in 2 years on this date? I'm pretty sure that you'd have an opening in your diary.
I'm sure I do.
And it might just mean you'll get in before someone books a holiday or books something that then they can't cancel out of. Now, if you want to do the plan B thing, I think it's completely different. You need to put your invitations out a lot later because you don't want someone to know that everyone got an invite in 2018 for your 2020 wedding and all of a sudden you just got one 3 months before. You go, oh, great, I was like, I was second offer, I was plan B. So if you're going to do that, I feel as though you need to put a save the date out about 1 year ahead. And I really like save the dates because it's basically saying, hey, pencil this into your diary. Are you in or not? And then when they say yes or no, then you actually do your invites. Now, invites, I think around 6 months before is plenty of time. And I am a believer in saying that you should have your response back literally 4 weeks after. And I'll explain that. And Sarah, I think this is a classic example of, if I sent you an invite to a wedding that was in 6 months and I said, let me know in 3 months, you'd probably just forget.
Yeah.
But if I say, you're invited to my wedding in 6 months, you need to respond within 4 weeks, chances are you're going to literally respond that day. And it's a psychological thing, and that's why I say that. And if I can take one step further with the invite thing, if you don't want to spend a lot of money on invites, and getting printed invites and posting them is beautiful, but trust me, it will cost quite a lot of money. If you want to save money, there's nothing wrong with doing an email invite or starting up. A lot of couples start up their own little wedding website, do it that way. But remember, Nan and Pop and the oldies, they have to have a proper invitation. So if you can't have a lot of money to spend on like the most amazing invitations, go somewhere like Vistaprint. Like Vistaprint is amazing. We love it, don't we, Sarah?
We do.
Print, and they have like 100 different designs, and they'll think you designed it yourself. So do you think that answered the question?
I think you answered that quite well.
And that being said, we might both need to have a bit of a sip of our drink.
Oh yes, let's do that, shall we?
This is one of my Yoda of Weddings coffee cups, and this is from the lifestyle arm of the business, which is under an umbrella, which is,
don't forget to show Instagram.
Oh, Instagram. Sorry, Insta. I know that I keep looking over here, but I've got to look at Insta as well. And
so cheers.
I absolutely love having these cartoons, because look how young I look. Awesome. I wish I could actually just be my cartoon version. There's no wrinkles there.
Awesome.
It is water. It's not vodka.
Yeah. Okay.
Now, before you throw me a question,
yes,
I just wanted to do a quick little explanation. So we've got Ulissa.Meza. I don't know what that means their names are, but hello. And Pammy. Hi, Pammy.
Hi, Pammy. Hello, both of you.
Just so people understand a little bit about all the different arms of my business, it's actually really simple. I started maybe, I've lost track, 15 plus years ago as a wedding photographer. And, didn't mean that my dogs will come running if this actually makes noise, so be quiet, please. So, it's too late. If only you could see Chewy's face. She is so funny. Want to come up and say hello? Do you want to come up? I'll see if she's not too shy. Come here, baby. No, she's camera shy. She hasn't got her hair and makeup done. So, yes, I went from 10 years as a photographer, and I was fortunate enough to win over 20 state and national awards. And I actually came second in Australia twice, didn't I, Sarah? And I missed out by like 0.1%. But anyway, I did really well. So I know what I'm doing. I shot thousands and thousands of weddings. And over that time, I realized every time I went to a wedding that it was total chaos and people didn't know what they were doing. And in fairness, Sarah, if you were planning your wedding, not being Baby Yoda, how on earth would you know how to plan a wedding?
No idea. I can remember back to my wedding and it was a nightmare. I was a typical bridezilla because I had to have everything right, even down to the point that I called my fiance, well, my now husband, the morning of the wedding, and I said, you have to make sure that the pews in the church are even numbers on each side. Like psychotic.
OCD.
I know, right? And then
that's something we both have, is OCD.
I know. And then when I got there, I had a panic attack.
But you were a little bit more you've got that events mind. So you were pretty good, but the average person hasn't got a darn clue. So I would spend half of my weddings putting my camera down and coordinating the whole thing. And that led me to, as I was driving around, because for a long time I lived on the Central Coast, I did weddings all over Australia. So I would drive 2 hours to my wedding. Then I would drive from the bride's house 30 minutes to the groom's house. And I would drive from the groom's house to the church another 30 minutes. Then I would drive to 3-hour photo shoot all over Sydney and the Harbour Bridge and the rocks. And oh, my Lord. Then I would drive. So I would literally be on the road for 15 hours. So my brain was going mental. So I started taking notes on my phone. And I realised that I had a book. And that took years to put together, which is kind of a good segue into my book. Wasn't meant to, but it kind of organically works. So I actually wrote this book. This is 10 years of information of A to Z of everything you need to know. And then Sarah and I actually turned it into a journal because we realised brides want to have a journal. So we said, why don't we make a book and a journal all in one? It's a beautiful hardcover, but also there's a downloadable ebook version. I've written a book about pandemics. So I put this all in here. Then I went, well, I'm so sick of running weddings and not shooting them because I haven't got time to shoot them. I'm so busy organising them. I really need my own venue. So I moved to the country, drove around, and I found a venue that didn't have a wedding venue. I found just a lovely place with cabins. I found lovely people, and we built this venue together. And people would know now. I used to have 5 venues. Now I've only got the one, and it's Mistwood in Wollongby. So I have Elope or Wed with a Twist is my wedding business, and I do weddings at Mistwood. So it used to be called Elope with a Twist because it started with just elopements, and the twist was I do everything for you. But then everyone said, please do weddings. So I had to then extend it to Elope or Wed with a Twist. So I spend a lot of my time, it's only 20 minutes from where I live, organising every aspect. Ooh, Pammy wants to know where we could buy the book online. If you just go to the website, Yoda of Weddings, Sarah?
YodaofWeddings.com. I will put it in for you, Pam.
YodaofWeddings.com. Also, my local Wed with a Twist will get you there. Sue Taylor Photography will get you there. Everything morphs to the one website. And I do have an international publisher. I'm very lucky my book sells globally and does very well, which was quite handy during the pandemic when we couldn't do weddings. So there's Sue Taylor Photography, which I don't do a lot of shooting anymore. I'm too busy. A local Wed with a Twist is my business at Weddings at Mistwood. And Yoda of Weddings was the umbrella we decided to put it all under.
Yes.
All right. So,
Emmy, I've just put it in there on Instagram.
YodaWeddings.com.au. We've got an awesome online bookshop because Sarah does all my website. She does my marketing, my social media, and she's got this incredible shop set up that you just click, 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 and you're done. Thanks, Pammy. Where are you from, Pammy? .84. Does that mean you were born in 84? My God.
Bless.
I've been born in 84. That's young,
know.
That's so young.
Very.
So have you got another question for me, baby?
I do. And actually, this one is from Beck. So we'll pop this one up.
Hi, Beck. Where's Beck from? Did Beck say where she's from?
No. So Beck said, so depressed about my wedding with all this rubbish going on at the moment. And I hear you. Any tips on how to feel better? That's a good question.
Oh, Lord. That's a biggie. We have now done 2 cycles of, we don't say the word, the sea. Oh, Wollongong. I have shot many weddings at Wollongong, Pammy. That's a beautiful place up there.
There's like that castle place, isn't there, down there? I think.
Yeah, Panorama House, and that beautiful place up there where actually started COVID in weddings. Oh, be quiet. Back in the beginning, poor place. That wasn't their fault. It just kind of started there. So she's getting married. Are you thicker planning or thicker planning? Or is that sick with a lisp? But yes, I get it. So we've been through 2 cycles of it. So I've handled hundreds and hundreds of brides. I've had brides in tears. I've had engagements simply break up because they just couldn't handle the pressure, which is sad. What can you do to make yourself feel better? Okay, 2 main points how to make yourself feel better in general. Get off social media unless you're following me, and turn the news off.
Yeah.
Because all that the news does is doom and gloom. Seriously, get on with your life. Just do what makes you feel happy and do what makes you feel joyous. Like I've got this thing that if I'm feeling a bit meh, I will put my favorite song on as loud as I can, and I'll sing it as loud as I can and be stupid dance. And within 3 minutes, my energy's lifted. Like, Sarah, give you this as an example. If you're sitting at home and you're feeling depressed about everything and you've got the news on and it's doom and it's gloom and everywhere around you, you just feel heavy. But then you just turned it all off and started dancing to your favorite song. Where do you think your energy would lift to with just such a simple thing?
Oh, totally. It goes up. I do that quite often, actually, because, it's been tough on everyone lately. So I think everyone planning a wedding or not has to get that music on and get pumping.
Yeah. What's your song, Sarah? What's your song?
Oh, I'm like a good old glam band.
Oh, really?
90s glam bands. Like good old guns. Roses and heavy metal.
Oh, you're a rock chick.
Yeah.
Do you know what mine is?
What's your...
You got to have one song. I've got one song that I listen to nearly every day of my life because it just makes me feel joyous, and that's Tiny Dancer, Elton John.
Oh, Elton, yeah.
And if you actually go on YouTube and you look at the video for Tiny Dancer, he's not even in it.
Oh, seriously?
It is the most incredible video taken in Hollywood of all the different quirky people in Hollywood all listening to the song and how they react to it. It's the most uplifting thing. So yeah, Tiny Dancer is Yoda's happy song. Happy song.
Nice.
And can I say one thing? If you're feeling a bit meh about stuff, stay away from your family. I mean, we love family, but family are the ones that go, oh, have you heard about COVID? Or what are you going to do? Family tend to like to, I don't know, maybe talk about the real hard stuff that sometimes you don't need to hear about when you're trying to plan a wedding. Don't turn to drinking alcohol. It doesn't fix a thing after the third drink. It makes it worse. You'll put weight on, you'll feel crap. So I wonder if that's Jan or Janet. Jan GT. Hey, Jan GT. When you have a couple of drinks, it's great. But after a while, you'll start to go like this. You won't feel as healthy. You won't sleep as well. And putting on weight through these times makes people feel even worse about themselves.
Yeah, that's true.
So what you got for me? Sarah, throw me another one.
I have now a question from Adam.
Oh my God, I wonder if that's Adam, who always comes up on my chats and he always wants me to do a shoey.
I don't know, but he's saying his missus is driving him crazy with all the wedding talk. How do I tell her I'm not that into it without her blowing up? That's a good...
Oh God. I think this is a really big thing, and I think this causes a lot of arguments with couples because I think, and I'm going to say majority of girls when they're little girls dream about their wedding. I personally was never, ever one of those. That just wasn't me. But would you say most girls are like that? Little girls growing up, Sarah, probably the majority are like that. They dream about their wedding day, being in a pretty dress.
I was one of those girls.
I knew you.
So look, I would say the majority. Still think that. But look, I'm old now, so I can't say about the young 20s.
The younger generation.
Yeah, but yeah.
Look, I think there's a lot of guys which are just as excited about. Let's talk about the majority. But the majority of guys don't live their life thinking about their wedding day. It's just a fact, We have to be honest, and I'm not trying to do anything I'm not trying to role play and saying girls do this and boys do that. It's just a fact, and it is what it is. I believe that women have to be more understanding that most grooms, I have grooms contact me quietly, and I never tell the bride, saying, please help me. I don't give a crap. I just want to marry this girl. I love her. How do I not offend her? And I just say, be honest. Sit down and say, darling, I love you with all my heart. I want to marry you. But this whole wedding thing, it's not me. It's not who I am. It's not my vibe. I couldn't care if we stood at the pub in, Tracky Dacks and had a beer and got married. But I respect everything you want to do. Just do it if it makes your heart sing. You know what I mean? Just be honest. Don't get upset with them. Be real. The real blokes of yesterday were at the pub with beers. They're a bit more metro these days. And Sarah, I have a lot of grooms now, are the ones I have nearly all the contact with. And I don't meet the bride till the wedding day. I have a lot of brides that are like, oh, I don't want to know about it. My groom, I'll just go to the registry office. So you would know about that when you had your wedding business.
Yes. I always remember I had this awesome groom. His name was Scott, and he just took care of absolutely everything. And I didn't meet the bride until the wedding day. And she was just so lovely. Like, it was just so beautiful. But the feeling and the care that he put into it, it was just lovely. And there's heaps more guys out there doing it these days. So that's really really good to see.
It is good to see. I really enjoy that. And I don't often get a groomzilla. I get an occasional bridezilla. But when you talk about a bridezilla, if I ever say, oh, I've got a bridezilla, I actually don't mean that in a derogatory term. It's a bride who is so tightly wound that they're just about to explode. So to me, when I get what I call a bridezilla in a nice way, it means I just need to nurture them a little bit more and say, it's okay, I've got your back. My team has your back. Take a breath and just enjoy being a bride. But I know that there's, stories of real bridezillas. And I actually wrote a story in my book that if you've got my book, you'll read it. And this is a true story. When I was working in Sydney, I had a celebrant tell me that they did a wedding out on a boat in the harbour, and the bride was just nightmare, screaming at the catering stuff, that just revolting to the point of throwing things. So at the end, you know how they get on they climb down onto the little boat and that takes them back to shore before the big boat goes in. And the groom contacted him the next day and said, oh my God, it's Eliza. Coming to Eliza in a minute. On the way back in the boat, he took his wedding ring off and he threw it into the harbour. True story. I wonder if anyone ever caught a fish and made money from that. And then he got off the boat and that's it. Wedding was over. It's a true story. It's in my book. So my recommendation is, if you're going to be an absolute nightmare to your partner, you might lose your partner. Now, this is lovely Eliza. Eliza, I'm so glad you joined, honey, because we did Eliza's wedding on Saturday. So she's now been married for what? Saturday, Sunday, Monday, 4 nights. So she's still on her honeymoon. So Eliza,
the anniversary, Eliza.
I know, right? Happy 4-night anniversary. So Eliza and Michael were our first big wedding back with a reception since lockdown back in July. And Eliza, we had such a good time. Now, Eliza, if you don't mind, actually, it's interesting for me to talk about Eliza because Eliza is in events planning herself. And that's always really, really tough, Sarah, because when you're an event planner, you are so in control of what's going on. It's incredibly hard to allow somebody else to take control. So Eliza was very much on every single detail.
Yeah.
But with me being so much on every single detail, we were both so much on every single detail that I loved on the wedding day that I saw Eliza's whole it was like she took a breath and just let and just realized, wow, this team of people at this venue have got my back. And I just saw her then just have the best day ever. So, yeah. So, Eliza, thank you for sort of allowing us just to let you just have the time of your life. And my God, it was such a good wedding. It was incredible. And what an awesome hubby you've got. So we've got CJ. Hi, CJ. Hi, Brandy. Making sure I haven't missed anyone. Pammy, where are you getting married? So, Sarah, you got any other questions for me at this point? Oh, it was incredible. You summed up. Glad. Yep. So it was just so much fun, Eliza. We just enjoyed it so much. Thank you so much for coming to us. And I had some lovely messages too on the post on the Facebook page. A lot of your guests went on there and thanked us as well. And I know that when I was at the venue doing some maintenance a day or two after, that one of the owners at Mistwood said that a whole bunch of people that he talked to after the wedding said it was truly, honestly, the best wedding that they have absolutely ever been to, which is what we want to hear. And we've got Day, I don't know what their names are when it says Day, yeah. Oh, I've shot heaps of weddings. Hey, Day, hey, Bexy. That must be Bex, I'm assuming. Tammy, I have shot many weddings at Dalton House, Darling Island. I've shot everywhere. I've shot thousands of weddings. It's really nice there. So as long as you got a good planner, hope you got a good planner. If not, you're going to get my book anyway. That's as good as having a planner. Eliza says, everybody loved it and haven't stopped raving. Yeah. How good was the food too? Oh my God, the food. See, Sarah, people think salads are boring.
Stop talking about the food.
Oh, no.
No, I
haven't eaten yet.
food. I don't get to go and have the food.
It's not good. But people think salads are boring. Oh, until you see the salads that my caterer make. They had like chicken Caesar, roast pumpkin with feta and pine nuts and pasta salad and there was like 4 or 5. It was incredible. It was really, really good.
Okay.
Yes.
Well, I'm going to go to the next question.
Before I've got people, people popping up. Let me just say a couple, because I'm missing heaps of people popping up.
Say some hellos.
I got Missy Adam popping up. Now, Missy, which is Amanda, and her beautiful husband, Hugh, I did their wedding back probably like 4 years ago. She wore that incredible blue floral dress with the cowboy boots. The one that... And then,
yes.
And then she said she was, I think, going to cut the dress up afterwards and have it made for a christening gown for when they have kids or something. But her dress just blew the internet up. And Ashley's one of my brides. So yeah, there's so much going on. I just don't want to miss saying hi to people. So apologies if I'm missing saying hello.
I think that's everyone now.
Yeah.
Okay. You ready for the next?
Yeah, hang on. Sorry, I'm just knocking my phone over. Here we go.
Instagram.
All right, there we go. Sorry, Instagram.
Okay, so we've got a question as well from Sam. What would a reasonable budget be for a wedding in Sydney for 120 people?
Oh,
that's a lot.
Budget's a really big thing to talk, because I think you have to be realistic here. When you book a wedding, why is it different to booking anything else in your life? It's business. It's a business, and you should go into it knowing how much you've got to spend. And I don't believe in putting yourself in debt over a wedding. It's one day. I think it's ridiculous. So, who's paying for your wedding? If you say the parents, you need to sit down with them and say, what portion are you paying? What portion are you paying? What are you happy with? What will you let us blow out to, so that you don't end up in the street with no money? Be very, very careful too with parents. If one pays more than the other, they will have an entitlement to having more say, and that will piss off the other lot of parents. You have to be very clear. Or one will say, well, we've paid for 3/4 of this wedding, so we're inviting 3/4 of the guests. You have to be honest, open, and upfront. If someone else is paying, you're open to them taking a bit of control of your wedding, so you're going to have to deal with that. If you want to pay for your own wedding, how much money do you want to spend? I mean, who are you trying to impress? Do you want to get married at the Opera House and have your reception in Guillaume Restaurant, which is one of the most expensive restaurants in Sydney, to impress everyone else? You've got to just do what's right for you. So if you've got $10,000, you can make it work. If you've got $100,000, you can make it work. Do you want to buy a house? Do you want to have a wedding? You know, Sarah, budget is just, it's a business, guys. Don't get carried away. I say to people that I don't take advantage of people in an emotional situation. So in an emotional situation means I could probably talk you into anything to book one of my weddings, but I won't do that, because I'm going to tell you what I think you really need. And if you say, well, we really want that, that's great, but I don't want you to go and get a bank loan for me pressuring you. You've got to have, you've got to have, you've got to have. I'm always going to work in with you. So be clear. What's your budget? Be clear.
Yeah. And also I think as well, like I know, pardon me, that I think the best thing people can do in that situation is work out what's the most important for them.
Really important. And I think, Sarah, it's important that people understand that through the years of us working together, Sarah set up incredible, like small micro weddings. What was it called? I Do pop-ups when pop-up weddings first started. And then you had, what was the name of it?
Planning.
Bespoke wedding planning. So Sarah did a lot of weddings. I was her photographer for a while, but then I started a local web with a twist, and I had to go, Sarah, I'm so sorry, I can't be your photographer anymore, I'm too busy. So there was this period of time that we went our own ways, always stayed connected. But Sarah, how many weddings did you do? You did a lot. A lot. Hundreds. I don't even know if you could remember how many you did.
I can't remember, but it was quite a few. But I know for when I would help my couples, I would always ask them, what's the 3 most important things to you on your wedding day? And it's different for everybody. And I would always advise then people to allocate their most budget to those 3 things. So for some people, it's the food. Some people, it's the music. Some people, it's the photography. It's just completely different. So I think, Sam, that a good thing to do would be to sit down with your fiance and just try to work out what the 3 most important things are, because at least then that way you've got the conversation. You can have that with the family as well. And, you know, from there you can work out a whole bunch of other things.
I think that's a really valid point, because coming from a photographer, I think photography is just so unbelievably important. I can never stress enough about a photographer. Now, I have some couples that go, oh, honestly, it's not important. I'll get my friends to take photos with their iPhone. And I want to just crawl into a hole and die when they say that, because your friends don't know about bad angles, and your friends might take a shot like this where you've got a big double chin, or they might take a shot in a bad angle where you've leant over and you've got this back fat spilling on your dress, and they'll put them on social media. A photographer understands angles, can make you look your absolute incredibly very best. Some people, food isn't an issue. Some people, food is everything. Some people say, I'll bring an iPod or my phone with a playlist and I'll just have my favorite songs. But some people go, no way, I'm having a DJ. I want them to read my dance floor and I want it pumping. So I think that's really valid, very good, valid information. Sarah, now with me, if I was getting married, sounds terrible, and I'm really sorry to the florists out there, but I'm that person. I'm not a flower person. I would want to go pick a bunch of white daisies and just hold them. That's just me. But flowers are very, very important to a lot of people. So Pam said, what's important to spend the majority? Food and photos. I think that's absolutely brilliant. And if video isn't your thing, get a friend to at least or couple to do a video on their iPhone so that you can send it to people that didn't go, or you can show their kids one day if you haven't got them, or when they're older. Now, Sarah, yes. Ashley has said flowers. So I don't know if she's talking about flowers. At the moment, I want to say what's really on trend, what is really big, is preserved flowers. Preserved flowers. Beautiful. I don't know if I haven't got a photo. You guys know what preserved flowers are. They're very boho, very vintage, very chic. But a lot of people have allergies to preserved flowers. Not a lot of florists do them. So you are going to pay a fair bit for them because they're a specialty, and you can keep preserved flowers pretty well sort of forever if you keep the bugs out of them. A lot of people now are using silk flowers, which is fine. Make sure they look good and don't look fake. But fresh flowers will always be the most popular. Pricing of flowers, I've got a brilliant florist who's just local. She hasn't been going for 20 years with a huge reputation, which means her prices are a little more reasonable. If you get someone that's got, a huge reputation, who's the biggest in the industry, you might go from paying $150 for a bouquet to paying $500 for a bouquet. So it's really up to you what you do. There's heaps of choices out there.
That's it. Well, how are we going for time? We've been going for half an hour.
That's nothing. Here we go. So is there any...
I know. I've got some more questions here.
Actually, Pammy,
yeah. Any unique styling ideas you can share with us? That's a great question, Pammy.
Yeah, but the thing with styling, Pam, is that it depends on your venue. Like, for example, where are you getting married? Like, are you getting married? Have you got an arbor? Have you got an arch? So I need to understand, what is your actual backdrop and setting? What chairs are you having? What is your situation inside the venue? Are you having round tables? Are you having long tables? Are you having tablecloths? So you have to look at what is your blank canvas to start with. And you see, in my venue, we designed and built our tables, and they're 1.1 meters wide. But that was very purposeful, because we wanted people to be able to sit, eat, have a drink, put their phone, but also have beautiful styling down the center. Now, a standard table, I think, is around 600 wide. So by the time you sit people each side, you've got no room to put styling down the middle. Now, if you put tall styling in the middle, people can't see each other. If you put tall, thin things, they'll get knocked over. So I spent 10 years as a wedding photographer going around venues. Back then, Sarah, everyone had round tables, and everyone wanted a table photo with the bride. And they used to put these massive big things in the middle of the table. So here I am running around. Sarah, you used to help me do it.
We'd have to move them.
We'd have to move these things, and we hardly had any time as it was to be shooting the tables. And then we'd have to put it back afterwards. So I'm a practical person. put things lower on the tables so people can talk to each other. And the minute a bride says, I've got a school, actually, Eliza, this is a classic for Eliza. She made these beautiful, she got these jars. She put twine around them. She made these beautiful tags with table numbers. So when we went to set it all up the day before, when we put them in the middle of the table, and she had some lovely greenery and like sort of native flowers, I knew the first thing that was going to happen was someone's going to reach across, grab their drink, and it's going to get knocked over. Someone's phone's going to get wet. The purse is going to get wet. It's going to get in their dress, and I'm going to have cranky guests. So I said, okay, this isn't going to work. So in my brain, I start grabbing some little wooden stumps. We always have that stuff. We place 3 around it. We put it in the center, knowing that we have just person and alcohol proofed a mishap. So you've got to project people having fun, drunk people having fun, and you've just got a nightmare everywhere. So when we did that, then we went, okay, looks a bit bare. We put a bit of silk greenery around it. Now that's looking better. And I've got these little lovely round glass tea light holders. We use battery candles. They're so much safer. Put them around there. And all of a sudden, we turned this table from just looking really a bit bare and just dangerous with this to looking absolutely amazing. So together we just went, what about this? Hang on, what about this? But if you're doing that, Pam, on the day of the wedding or your wedding day, you don't have the luxury of going into a pool of stuff like I have at my venue. I have rooms packed to the ceiling of stuff. My stylists have stuff that I can go, hang on, I'll go get that. You can't just pull that out of thin air. So you're going to have to really think about this type of stuff. Pam, that's it. Think practical. Why is it, Sarah, that you get the most practical person, get them married, and all practicality goes out the window? You have to be practical.
It's the fantasy of it, I think. That's what happened with me anyway. It was kind of like...
It's the fantasy.
Exactly, because I'm a very practical, logical, organized person. And when that happened, it was just like, you lose your mind.
You just look, just with that being said, and this is where my book, you know, Sarah, I think we should maybe give away some online copies of my book.
Okay.
So
hang on.
So maybe throw up something that people can do. Look, the printed one's phenomenal because I'll give you an example. We haven't just left blank spots on pages, okay? So blank spots to write stuff, but asking questions to prompt you. Like, for example, I like the one, which is the one okay. So with the section about cars and transport, all right? So I tell you all about cars and transport, but then we go through questions where it says, are we having wedding cars, yes or no? If so, what are we having? How many? What colour? Who are we booking them through? How much are they? How many people will be in each car? Because I've had brides book cars and on the wedding day go, oh, they can't all fit. It's like, did you not do the math before? So this makes you go, oh, hang on. I just realised I'm going to need an extra car for the bridesmaid because I forgot the flower girl and the page boy. List people's names in the cars. Is the car company supplying ribbon to put on it, or are you supplying it? How many hours are you booked for? Are they supplying drinks and snacks? This just goes on and on and on. You won't forget a thing. Sarah, the reason I just wanted to read one quick thing out is you talked about fantasy, how practical people go all wacko when it comes to planning their wedding.
Oh, yes.
And I just want to read something out that... How many? This is a lot of pages, this book, Sarah. So basically what I've said is all those glamorous wedding magazines out there will have you believe that you will become a prince or princess for a day. Oh, I feel like one of those, like Patsy used to read to Fat Cat, you know, on television, used to read stories to people. You'll wake up that morning and you'll float through the day on cloud 9 with all of your careful planning and dreaming, which probably started when you were very young, combined with the help of your bridal party and family. How could anything possibly go wrong? But here's the fact, and I'm only going to read one paragraph, Sarah, because it's a fair bit. You'll quite possibly wake up sleep deprived because you felt nervous and you slept poorly, or you worked so late doing last minute things for the wedding that it was daylight before your head hit the pillow. Maybe you didn't sleep in your own bed and you couldn't get comfortable. You'll barely eat because of nerves. The stress starts to build. One of the bridesmaids' dresses doesn't fit. And when you start to read through this, you realize, don't you think that you're just going to wake up and go, I'm a bride. Everybody, where's my coffee?
No.
Do my hair. Do you know why? Because all the bridesmaids are too busy looking after themselves. Me, my makeup, my hair, my dress. The bride becomes an afterthought. Seriously, that's what it's like. So you have to know the pitfalls for you to be prepared. And I go there in this book, don't I, Sarah? I tell you what's going to go wrong.
Yes.
Not to scare you, but to prepare you. Like with your wedding, Sarah told me this story that I can never forget because of my photography background. And that is, see, tell me about your photographer, Sarah. It's classic.
Well, first of all, I've been now married for heading on 20 years and I still don't have my wedding photos, number one. And second of all, my photographer turned up to my wedding day in a bright red jumper. And it might not be a lot for some people, but when it stood out like dog's balls. And it was just completely crazy.
It's insane to think something that simple. Why does everyone think photographers wear black? Why do videographers wear black? Why does the wedding industry? I only put this color on today because I looked really dull in black today. It looked really bleh. But because there's no sun, Bex is going no. But can you imagine if your videographer's wearing bright pink and then your photographer's wearing red and then your MC's wearing a bright pink suit? It's like me. It's not about us. We're the ninjas working. And every time I think about that, Sarah, I laugh about Sarah at the wedding, like trying to get married, thinking, oh, I want to smack you in that red.
At that point because I was freaking out.
And when Sarah first started working with me, she showed me her photos and I was mortified. They were so bad. So maybe that might lead us into a segue of how do you pick a good wedding photographer? Because I'm telling you right now, I've seen some of the best wedding photographers out there, half the price of some of the crap ones. It's not money driven.
It isn't. And I think that, and also it's not about meeting your photographer, because I actually met with my photographer and he came and he came and he showed me his portfolio on the laptop, and he had some albums and he's literally going, oh, if you look at this photo, and I'm like, oh, it's beautiful.
Do you think he maybe showed you someone else's work in hindsight?
Probably. But he was sitting there and he was saying things like, oh, look, I wouldn't have taken, you have to make sure that you remove the backgrounds and do this and all that. And I'm like, oh my gosh, that didn't even stand out to me until he pointed it out. And then, obviously the wedding day we ended up having, and back then it was quite common for them to do the photos like on the bed because, like I said, I'm old. Well, that's what he said anyway. So we went and we did all of this before the wedding, but then after the wedding, all of his gear apparently messed up. So we had to go and redo them. And we had a cocktail reception because it was important for us to have a lot of interaction with our guests because we had moved up to the Hunter Valley at the time from the Central Coast, so we didn't see friends and family very much. So that took us away for about an hour, and then we came back, and then it was just insane. And then later on we ended up getting a CD of all low resolution photos which weren't even big enough to go on a standard 6x4?
6x4, yeah.
And everything, and that's what we were supposed to make our selections from. And
then he then charged you for those selections?
No.
Oh, that was included?
That was included, yes. Sorry.
Because what a lot of photographers do is they'll take photos all wedding day, then they send you the little tiny thumbnails.
Thank you, sweetie.
You have to pick some, and if you want the rest, you've got to pay for them. It's insane.
insane. But yeah, then and then we never heard from him again, and we took him to Department of Fair Trading and everything. There was nothing that they could do. So yeah, that's just how it is. And I was really, really, really lucky though, because we ended up at the last minute going, let's just get a videographer.
So you got stills from the video?
I have taken stills from the video, yeah. But
perfect.
Yeah, it was just
terrible.
Breaking.
Sarah, there is thousands and thousands of couples with those stories. Hello, Debbie. Deb's a celebrant. How lovely. So Debbie's got some stories. I'm sure she could tell of wedding days. And we've got a DJ. It's nice that the industry's joining in. Hi, DJ Master. Hey, Deb. I know it's terrible, Eliza. Eliza's very fortunate because she had our amazing David Maltby shoot her wedding, and he's phenomenal. Because I started my wedding
as well, and you're always there as a backup. Not many people get that.
Look, I know this is where people are so fortunate that I started my business as a wedding photographer. So can you imagine how fussy I am? Like, for me to even bring David on board years ago was very hard for me, and he's incredible, absolutely incredible. But if ever, Dave, something happened on the way to a wedding, oh my God, Sue, I can't make it. Who just has a experienced wedding photographer at a wedding that goes, it's all right, I'll shoot it.
Yeah.
My couples are so lucky, and I have all my gear sitting at the venue. I have a bag that I can just pick up. My cameras are ready to go. And you've got to have a photographer. If your photographer doesn't have two cameras, and I mean not just a really nice expensive one, then a crappy backup, you should have two excellent quality cameras, a bunch of lenses, and you should always have cameras that have two memory cards in them in case one card stuffs up, you've got the other one as a backup. So if you get someone because they're cheap and they've only got one camera and one lens, you're asking for trouble. How to pick a photographer quickly, what I'd like to say is ask for a big portfolio of their work, which means not just one wedding where they took 10,000 photos and picked 50 amazing ones and had them photoshopped to death. I would say I would expect to see photos from at least 20 or 30 weddings, and I would ask if I could speak to past couples. David was amazing. So where are you two based?
On Instagram.
Oh, yeah, Instagram, Debs.
So she's just joining for the first time, about to do 5 weddings after lockdown. Congratulations.
Oh, brilliant. Yeah, we've got weddings coming out our ears at the moment. Deb, we're in the Hunter Valley in New South Wales. Where are you? And you know, Eliza, you can be the best photographer in the world, but if you don't have a really nice attitude and demeanor and presence, and people don't feel comfortable with you, you'll never get the best photos out of them. So Dave's a lovely guy and an incredibly talented photographer as well. Who have we missed? Oh, Yoda, you've said Hunter Valley. I haven't missed anyone there. So we kind of got off track a bit. And you know what, guys, what we just talked about with photography, it's exactly the same for videography. It's the same thing, as in, you know, how to find one, yada, yada, and they got to have some really good gear.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So I was thinking with your giveaway, free book giveaway, how about we just make it the first people that email you at Yoda of
Weddings at gmail.com.
Yep. We will send them a ebook version of
your book. If I'm feeling generous, we might give away a few. So see, she keeps me in control. She says we'll give away one, and I'll go, oh, maybe we'll give away 3. That's why Sarah's there.
Yeah. So I'm thinking that we probably have time for one more question, because all these lovely people have been sitting here for nearly an hour.
Oh no, they must be so sick of our mugs.
And we can just talk for hours. So you know,
Ashley said, listening to all your advice, feeling so excited. Oh, that's so nice, Ashley. Because she's getting excited because she's doing her wedding with us. So I'll be looking after her. Oh, Debbie, getting married with you. Oh, hang on. Oh, May the 4th.
Be with you.
Be with you. Now, what is? I've got everything going here, so I can't check my. No, I can't check my diary. I'm trying to think who's May the 4th. I can't think of their names. Tell me their names. Of course, May the 4th is my favourite day of the year. May the 4th be with you. So I believe that's just a littleish wedding. How awesome. Because I get some people that say, I'm going to book my wedding with you just because I absolutely love Star Wars. So it's pretty cool as well.
Absolutely. Okay, so I think we've got time for one more.
Yeah, throw one at.
Okay. I think this is a good one.
Oh, Blake and Evie. Yes, 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 Evie. You know what I think of when I think of Evie? Do you think, what's the song, Sarah?
Oh, I know that song. What is it?
Evie,
Evie.
Evie,
Evie,
let your hair hang.
yeah.
Can you remember you were a rock chick?
I know.
That's showing our age, isn't it? Hey, but you know what? With age comes so much experience.
Absolutely.
It's a good thing.
Okay, so before we go off having a karaoke competition, let's hear from Kerry. I know.
Who is it, Kerry?
Kerry, yes. My mother-in-law is a nightmare and wants to do everything her way.
I hope she's not listening.
How do I tell her to butt out nicely?
You just go, butt out. No, this is very, very, very common, and I deal with this along the wedding planning process with my couples. They share everything with me, and of course, I'm not going to tell anyone. So, Debbie, don't you be one of those monster-in-laws. The only thing I can say is you have to sit down with them, have a cup of coffee, and just really gently, not go, you're a total pain in the butt out, because you've got to, you do realize you do marry the family. Sorry if you think you're not, but you do. You marry the family. Just sit down with her and say, listen, this is how I'm doing the wedding, going through some things. If there's something that she's kind of got a sticking point about, she wants to put her 2 words in, let her have her 2 words. Maybe she just wants to give a bit of input, and don't always shut her down, because if you might say, well, why is it you really want me to do that? What's the importance? She might go in and say, well, when my mother was alive, and you might, wow, I actually didn't understand the reason she was so connected to that. Maybe I can move something a little to suit her. But if she's just being a monster-in-law, you've got to gently say, I appreciate that, and the reason I don't want to do that is because of this. Can you understand that? If you are open, empathetic, warm, and face to face, don't try doing it on Messenger, because Sarah, I can say, oh, you're a royal pain in the butt to your face, and we'll laugh. I can put that in a message and you might go, well, that's a bit rude. So stop hiding behind keyboards, guys. Face to face, have a coffee, be honest, and let someone have their say, because you got to understand something about when you're a girl marrying a guy, Sarah, she's going to be a monster. Here, where do I hit? This one down here. She's going to be a monster because she's got a baby boy. And do you know how it must feel for your baby boy to get married, but for you not to have any input in their wedding?
Oh.
It would be hard, wouldn't it?
No, I will start crying, literally.
Yeah.
I can really relate to that. And look, I've seen it both ways, I think, like from my experience. Well, I was lucky in one way because my husband's parents were overseas at the time. And look, she was really respectful, so I was very lucky there. But through, obviously, over the years, I have seen a lot, and it can be very trying. And I hope that when the time comes that I'm not too much of a horrible mother-in-law.
Yeah,
it is. Look, I think that from that perspective, if you can have that conversation, and if it just comes from the heart, and if you're just honest about it, if they're a decent person, they're going to listen and respect. It's
I think, Sarah, what brides have to remember is, I've got this thing that when you get married at our venue, we have these wooden fence blocks called blocks of love that you put on the fence. So everyone that's been married there, it's always there. It's just a nice thing. But I have this rule that I always put the groom's initial first. And I have had brides before say, I want my initial first. And I go, well, sorry, you don't get that say, because it's 99% about the bride, which means, where does the groom's mum fit in? So I think you have to understand sometimes that the groom's mum can feel incredibly left out. And I've had groom's mums on wedding days pull me aside and in tears, and they're not nasty people, trust me, saying, I have had nothing to do with this wedding. I've just turned up and I don't even know what's going on. So let's use the word empathy here. Yeah. Put yourself into her shoes. You're losing your boy and you feel like why don't I know what's going on here? So I think let's just be fair and sometimes walk a few feet in their shoes to understand. Some people, see, if I'm annoyed about something, I'm a good communicator, but a lot of people communicate when they're unhappy with anger and frustration. So they'll just go, like you'll have your mother-in-law go off at you because she doesn't know how else to get it across. If you sit down together, have a cuppa, she can just empathize, it'll end a lot better. I'm telling you, we've got to learn to communicate better. But anger is just a last resort of not being heard. That's all anger is.
That's true. Good advice there. And I think
well, Yoda, hello. And Debbie says, thank you. You're welcome, Deb. And I'm really looking forward to meeting you. And I genuinely just, and Sarah knows how much I absolutely just, I love planning weddings. I love my connection with people. I love being there on the day. Look, sometimes I'm there all day. Sometimes I'm just there for a couple of hours based on what the need is and how many weddings I'm doing in a row, because I have to look after my own health or I'm going to just fall over and die when I'm doing like 5 weddings back to back. It's quite tiring. So I have to sort of, look after me as well. And I genuinely love what I do with a passion, and so does my team. And if my team don't love what they're doing, I won't have my team there. It's that simple. You cannot work in the wedding industry for money. That is just a byproduct of doing what you love. So we love it. We have a connection, and anyone that's ever been married with me and my team, the family, forever, we have this connection. And I'll be at the shops and people go, oh my God, you did not. And I'm like, oh, okay. Which wedding was that? And usually I can dig back and remember. But we kind of become a part of your family as well, because we share such a special day with you all. So it's a nice industry to be in, isn't it? Although Debbie might say it's a tough industry, and so might our little DJ here. And I would say it's a very tough industry to be in, and it's not for the faint-hearted. You've got to have balls of steel, don't you, Baby Yoda?
Yes, you do. And with that comment of balls of steel, I'm going to use mine and say it's time to end now, or otherwise
we did an hour. That's good for me. I could sit here and talk.
You'll be talking all day long.
So look, Sarah, there's going to be people that we know. We got a lot of messages and emails saying that they're at work and they can't just watch this live, and that they can't wait when they get home, have dinner, put the kids to bed, that have a cup or a glass of wine and they want to watch this. So if they've got a question for our next live, what should they do?
They can just go to the email address on the screen and email yodaofweddings.com, or they can
Yoda of Weddings at gmail.com.
Yes, or they can come through the website, which is yodaofweddings.com, or they can send a message via Facebook, and that's what they did yesterday, and I just jotted them down for people. Great to meet you too, Debbie. And how often do we come on? Look, we're going to
we were just talking about this, weren't we? We really I promise we will do it once a week, I promise, but personally I'd like to do it twice a week. At this point, like next week, I think we've got 2 weddings in 4 days, which doesn't sound like a lot, but by the time you set one up and do it, and then set one up and do it, 2 weddings becomes 4 solid days of work. I will find time always to do one, but I really would like to do 2, and it could be different days and different times depending on how our schedules are looking. So please send questions, and if you need that, we won't wait for the live. If you say, please don't wait for the live, tell me now, we'll respond to that there and then, because guys, there's nothing I don't know about weddings. You're not going to stump me ever. So anything you need to know, if you're having issues with the C word, and that's the COVID, stressing, I can help you with that and guide you through that as well. I had someone say, so all my guests have got to wear masks at weddings. No, you don't have to wear masks at weddings. You don't. People are just stuck and they're not sure what the rules are. No, you don't. So it's good. We're good. We're in Northern Wedding on Saturday. Can you hear my pinging? The emails coming in.
I know. Everything's just going crazy.
So hang on. Debbie is the mother in, did she say, a son, see? So I'm sure Debbie can relate too. Just because it's her son doesn't mean she should have nothing to do with the wedding. But Evie's gorgeous, so I know that she will be including you in on everything. So I hope we haven't missed anyone, Sarah.
And just so everyone knows, we will make sure that we announce it on social media, just like 24 hours before we do the live. So once we've got dates and times, we will put that out there so then we can have another chat.
Yes, and hold tight, Sarah. I'll be back.
Okay.
Oh, God, these puppies used to be so low. I can't go without having my little baby. Here we go. So when you see and you hear me talk about Chewy and Solo, this one here is Chewy, the black and white one, aka Chewbacca, and this little one here is Han Solo, aka Solo. So when you see me putting photos of Chewy and Solo all over social media, I thought it would be polite that you meet them. Say hello.
Hello.
By the way, they are my only children. So. All right, Sarah. So from Yoda of Weddings, hey, don't be rude. Look at the camera. From Chewy and Solo, it's goodbye from us, and I hope that you've learned something. And free book giveaway, send an email, and we're feeling generous.
Absolutely. It's goodbye from me, and until next time, we'll see you later, guys.
See you guys.
Bye.
Thanks for joining us.